All right, it was the performance of the season, guys. Ohio State goes into Happy Valley, comes out with a win in thrilling fashion, and now the question becomes, what next? Well, remember what happened a year ago, what next? It didn't go well, where you get housed at Iowa. How does Ohio State and Urban Meyer make sure that doesn't happen again, Joshua?
Well, I think you got to look at the history, right? If you're Ohio State, you're reminding these players of something that happened to them last year, and it wasn't a great outcome. I think they've got to put this one behind them. I think they have to stop reading all the press telling them how good they are, and they've got to get back to fundamentals. Ton of things that they can work on. They didn't start very well on offense. I think the first half looked really disjointed. They couldn't really get in a rhythm. And on defense, we saw a lot of those big plays that we've been seeing this year. And so for them, it's going to be, can we get back to the drawing board a little bit? Can we take this week as an opportunity to, number one, assert our dominance, but number two, work on our deficiencies? And so you hope that Ohio State goes out there under the training of Coach Meyer and his staff, and they get back to basics and they get back to work.
Dan, Urban Meyer said we're 5-0. We haven't been close to what we're supposed to be. The odd thing is, I think he's probably right. Remember, we're grading Ohio State against Bama and Clemson and Georgia, the best teams in the country. As this team handles the next 6-7 weeks, how do they continue to get iron to sharpen iron, even if it's not playing against iron?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is right, because I think you look at this past Saturday's game, they easily could have lost that game. They did what they needed to do with the final 7 minutes to come out with a victory, but that was certainly an escape. And we've seen all year, I mean, giving up big plays. They've given up 93-yard touchdowns in both the TCU and Penn State game. That remains a big issue on defense. I think offensively, we've seen this unit's potential, but we've seen slow starts in both the TCU and Penn State game. This team needs to come out a little hotter out of the gate when they're faced with tougher competition. And then across the board, I think penalties, too, have been a big issue for this team. We saw some really costly ones, including a face mask on a field goal that cost them 3 points. I think this team still has a lot to work on. And like you said, I mean, this is a team that's as talented as any team in the country. Bama's the top dog right now, and everybody's chasing them. But Ohio State's got the talent to be as good as anyone in the country. There's definitely still another level that this team can play to, and I think as you go into these next few games now that aren't expected to be that competitive on the scoreboard, you've got to remind this team, hey, we want to compete for a championship. We want to be better than we are. We've got to go out and do it now. We've got to play better now so that when we face those tougher games at the end of the year, we're ready for it.
Hey, guys, you know, there are a lot of people that root against our conference opponents when we're not playing them. And I would say this, I am very appreciative of Penn State, and I'm very appreciative of James Franklin's program. I'm very appreciative that on a late September Saturday night, you get to go to a place like that and play in a whiteout where the world is watching, and you get a thrilling game. That only happens because they're relevant. If they're not relevant, we don't have it. So I prefer that, and I'm just thankful of that, because we're not going to have – you look at the schedule, guys, we don't have one like this for a very, very long time. It won't be until the Michigan game, and who knows what Michigan will be at that point. But I'm thankful at least for one Saturday night this season, we have an opponent in our conference that's a worthy adversary that can put a little fear in you, and you come out of it, and it's a little bit more satisfying. Joshua, you know this. A whiteout is a brutal thing, but there is nothing sweeter than silencing it. And it can only be silenced if they're good.
Absolutely.
And so I think about the win you had there in 14, and you think about the walk-off sack and all those things, and you say to yourself, my goodness, that's only possible because they're good. It's not a whiteout if they're not, right?
Right, and it's amazing what they did. I think we kind of undersell because Ohio State's so good and we have the expectation that they're going to win what happened. Because you don't get down like that. You're not going to be down 12 and just come back in that little amount of time that they had, right? You're not going to overcome some of those penalties, some of those big costly plays that they had. And you look at Chase Young, one of the plays that he made, the fourth down play where he batted the ball, that's great design. If he doesn't make a play like that, I don't know what happens to Ohio State. And so we kind of undersell everything, but that atmosphere is huge. Penn State's a great team, and so like you said, we don't have a game like that. We don't have this excitement in the fanfare, and we don't have this marquee win if Penn State's not good.
No, it's critical, and it's a lot of fun, and we ended up on top again, which makes it even better. But frankly, to have the stage, I'm appreciative of it. And we're appreciative of this stage. We'll be back next week with 11warriors.com report.